Well, folks, by my calculations, the echo should be gone. I am back in Vancouver after experiencing a nightmare in the San Francisco airport yesterday. Back in this computer chair, back looking at my action figures, back in front of a microphone and a television set, and everything else that will allow me to get fully invested into the sport of hockey after a week-long vacation of love. Today, we are going out there and talking about some of the extra news with Team Finland, because a few days ago, we had seen some comments made by Montreal Canadiens forward Patrik Laine, talking about how he's been getting a few more minutes with this Team Finland squad than his Montreal Canadiens squad. And that was a pretty interesting topic. It was a week ago. We had discussed the entire commentary there about Patrik Laine throwing some subtle shade to Martin St. Louis, but we also did give the damage control too. Laine was very open and honest about his faults in the Montreal system, and he talked about how he definitely needs to be better and stuff like that, so it's not all disrespect. He's just kind of poking fun at his own situation in Montreal. But the reason we are making this video is because Team Finland is out of the tournament. We have some comments made about Patrik Laine by Team Finland's head coach, and Marty St. Louis did actually respond to the subtle shade that Laine gave out last week. So we're going to get into all that and more. This show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and check out the first link in the description to save some money on your VPN, get some free months, and support this YouTube channel all in the process. But if you dive into what it was that the Finnish head coach Antti Pennanen said about Patrik Laine during this tournament, you'll find a post made on Go Habs Go's page on the RHabs sub. I think Laine was pretty okay. I think he was better than he was before the tournament. Every time he has been a part of the Finnish national team, he has played good games. I think he was pretty okay and solid during this tournament, Finnish coach Antti Pennanen said. Now, just in case you needed the numbers, Laine was one of the more productive players in the tournament. He was a point per game. 3 assists, 3 games, 0 goals, which is interesting considering the fact that he did have 3 shots in the tournament in its entirety, but he was more of a playmaker, a guy who just made the right passes, who would put himself in the right positions, and as a result, allow offense to flow. He was the second most productive player on the team behind Mikael Granlund. So, very good for Patrik Laine to go out there and get some points. And the coach going out there and saying, hey, he's pretty okay. It seems like it's not a big deal. Like, oh, pretty okay, really? I mean, he was a point per game. And I think the comments will go out there and let you know that pretty okay in Nordic speaking is like, yeah, that's a thumbs up. He was good. A lot of people here who don't know about Finnish understatements. I had a Finnish friend talking about himself as decently strong, whilst he could single leg squat 185 pounds for reps on each legs. Pretty okay is essentially sensational. Laine was inarguably, better than everyone except Mikael Granlund. The only thing holding him back is conditioning. He was never the fastest guy, but it's clear he's not at 100%. And then there's a conversation afterwards about how injuries probably play a part of that, the fact that he didn't play hockey for a year in the Columbus organization, and now he has had these ups and downs. It's been a very difficult path for Laine to have the best quote-unquote conditioning, but despite the fact that his speed, his mobility might not have been to its peak, he still was able to get points, and he still looked pretty good for Team Finland. A lot of other comments are going out there and saying, hey, I mean, we can still have faith in this guy, right? There's a lot to like out of Patrik Laine's skill set, and this overall tournament was a good way for him to get his mojo back and hopefully bring some of that over to the Canadiens. I don't really think that coming back to Montreal, he'll start potting in assists left, right, and center. Like, I don't think Patrik Laine has ever been that guy. He'll still primarily be relied on as a sniper, a one-time option. But if he gets some confidence from this tournament and he's able to bobble the puck a little bit less, just kind of control it more and get his shots towards the goal more in a Habs sweater, then that is, of course, the best possible outcome. Now, I'll leave a link in the description of that Reddit post that we had looked at, and I'll also leave a link in the description of this commentary made by Marty St. Louis on 98.5 FM radio. St. Louis commented on Patrik Laine's playing time and Laine's comments last week in the media. "If you play 11 minutes, prove to me that you can play more," Martin St. Louis says. The full quote here says that if you play 11 minutes, prove to me you can play more. My job is to push Patty. Marty St. Louis said, who also mentioned that there will be a major shift in mentality for the second half of the year. And that should not be surprising. The Montreal Canadiens have taken a nosedive in the NHL standings in this middle part of the season, but Marty St. Louis going out there and directly addressing the Laine comments about how he's been getting more minutes with Team Finland versus in Montreal. Obviously, it's kind of tongue-in-cheek here. It's not really a big deal, but I do think it's good to acknowledge that there are working progressive relationships in this scenario. That Patty Laine is not going to get crucified for making the comments that he did last week, and Marty St. Louis is not going to, turn a blind eye to what his player ended up saying, which was a subtle diss to him. Obviously, Laine had a great tournament, so everybody wants to see that momentum carry into the Canadiens organization, but at the end of the day, Marty St. Louis does have that job, push Patty Laine a little bit more. We always knew that it was going to be difficult for him to get back into the swing of a full 82-game season, which he's not even going to play this year because he got taken out by Cedric Parekh, but with the time off extending so far into the past few years here, this was always going to be a bit of a working through period, and we weren't expecting Laine to carry over that goal-scoring pace throughout the rest of the season, much to the dismay of fantasy owners like myself, who ended up dropping Patrik Laine in 7 leagues because he couldn't end up putting the puck in the back of the net, and he was a negative player for most of these recent games. Ultimately, though, understanding that he does need a bit more work on his conditioning, and he kind of needs to get pushed a little bit more, as per Martin St. Louis, I think it's only a good thing as Laine suits up for the rest of this season and next season, assuming he plays all the games. Like, that's really going to be the biggest thing here. Does he have an 82-game season in his body? Can he be an effective hockey player for 82 games in a season at this point in his career? Or are the Montreal Canadiens going to think not and just decide to buy him out or trade him away with salary retained with 50% and that he makes 4-point-something million on some other team where he can go out there and actually do some work? There's going to be a lot of options here for Patty Laine and his status in 2025-2026, but for now, in Montreal, Martin St. Louis' job is to push him. He responded to Laine's comments, and I wanted to make a video all about that, so let me know in the comment section what you think about Patrik Laine's performance at the I almost said World Juniors. I keep on accidentally almost saying World Championships, but I have to keep on retracing and backtracking myself. It's the 4 nations face-off. 4 nations facing off. 4 nations facing off. Sidney Crosby. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section as to his performance there, St. Louis' response, what the coach of Team Finland said about Patrik Laine, and how you feel about it all. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.